Sion James, one of the massive, massive pieces that was a part of a really, really good Duke team, transferred in from, was it Tulane? I believe the school say he
It was
transferred.
Tulane. Yep.
It was Tulane, finds his way on the Duke, comes off the bench to start the season, ends up starting and being one of the more integral pieces to the success of the Duke basketball team, and now finds himself as a true NBA prospect. Now, a lot of people look at him as he's varied a lot in this draft, but I think one thing is for sure. I think everyone's banking on Sion James kind of carving out an NBA career, given the his frame and his defensive tools. You look at him and you look at him as a guy that can guard some different positions at 6'5", given his strength and his quickness, and be a guy that can be a very disruptive on-ball player, I think, for the rest of his career. Now, on our Sleepers Media big board, his consensus spot is 45th overall. I have him 51st. Ralph has him 35th, which is kind of borderline, maybe even first round
Yep.
movement there. So, Ralph, I'll throw it to you first. I think I spewed about Sion James a little bit too much here, but just give me your overall thoughts on him and as a player and a prospect.
He is, I think, the definition of somebody who you look at and he's not going to go in the lottery because he doesn't have sky high potential. But he's somebody who I feel as of carving out a role in the NBA as anybody. He's a really good defender, really athletic, really strong. Like he's going to come in the NBA and not, I don't think, struggle with the physicality or the speed of the game at all. And he did a number of different things at Duke. He played point some, which would not be his role in the NBA, but did that reliable 3-point shooter, showed some stuff attacking the rim as well. Like he did a little bit of everything. You know what he's going to be in the NBA. And I think sometimes known commodities are drafted much lower than they should be because there isn't the idea of what he could be. It's just kind of what he is. But like Desmond Bain was one of those guys who did not get drafted highly because everyone knew what he was. And then he has an impact in the NBA right away. I
Mm.
think Sion is on that track to be somebody who is a second round pick that plays pretty early on in his career because all the things that he does and the fact that you can mold him. He's going to play a role and he was willing to play a role. That's kind of what he did at Duke this year. He came in knowing he wasn't going to be the guy, was going to be more of like a supporting piece. And I mean that as respectfully and positively as possible, and thrived in that role. And that's what you're going to have to do to get when he's picked at the spot he's probably going to get picked in the draft is come in and be a supporting guy. He's got the tools and the mindset to thrive in that.
Yeah, I think so too. The one thing that points me, I guess we'll talk about it a little bit more as we go through these superlatives, but if Sion James had this crazy plus wingspan, I think he'd be a higher prospect for me. That's what holds me back a little bit
Yeah.
for him because he's 6'5", 220, right? That
Right.
frame's incredible with his athleticism, right? He only has a 6'6" wingspan, so he's got a little bit of that T-Rex wingspan arms thing going on, which I think
Oh,
puts him back a little bit. And he's 23 years old, so that's probably what holds him back. But like, if you ask me right now, is Sion James gonna find his way into an NBA role? I would have to say yes. I feel like,
I'm with you. Like the weakness is just there isn't the room to grow that there isn't with a lot of other prospects.
yeah, crazy world we live in. We're 23 years old, but hey, it is what it is. What is one word you would use to describe him?
Selfless.
Selfless. Okay, talk a little bit more about that.
I think he showed that going to Duke, where he just wanted to win and do what it took to win. He knew that he wasn't going to be the guy. He knew Cooper Flag was going to be. It was pretty established early on that Cole was going to be number two. You know, he had Malawatch there as well. So he came in knowing he was the fourth, fifth, maybe even sixth guy, depending with Proctor, Caleb Foster, even Isaiah Evans, some of the other guys there. And he was like, he was okay with that. And he came in and was like, I'm going to do whatever I can to make an impact. And did. And his willingness to do so elevated that Duke team. And I think he's going to come in the NBA the same kind of way, where he's like, I just want to come in here and impact winning however I can.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do the same thing. I said pit bull. I think he's
Yeah.
an absolute pit bull competitor. Selfless, I think, is another word I would use for him as well. I think his decision making to go to Duke, play the role, show he can do things. The question marks were about his shooting. He shot the ball well enough at Duke. Combine that with the defensive stuff, you feel pretty good about that. Do you have Sion James reaching his floor or his ceiling?
I have him reaching his floor. I think the floor is pretty high. I think the ceiling is pretty high too, if there is room to tap into. I just don't think that there is. Like, I think the floor is a productive NBA player, which I think he's going to be. I think the ceiling is somebody who is like a Mikal Bridges type, where you can be like one of the top guys on a bad team or a really good player for a really good team. I think that's available for Sion.
Yeah.
I just don't think that he gets there. I think he's more likely to be a serviceable guy, which, oh no, you have a long NBA career as a serviceable guy.
Yeah, I think floor as well. I just think that given his age and skill set, like there's really not that much of. I just think his floor is good, right? His floor will be
Right.
good. His floor will be get him in the league, and he'll be fine on that. What is the best team fit for Sion James?
But a little selfish here. I want the Hornets.
That's crazy because I said the same thing. I literally had the Hornets as well, just literally based off this though, Ralph. Y'all need some non-dickhead players. Like you have this team full of just like I want to like play 2K and stream on Twitch and rap and do all this other stuff. Like just give me a guy who will go in game and he will check, he will defend at a high level. He won't care about his shots because LaMelo's going to be shooting a lot of shots. He won't care about his
Or
shots
Brandon Miller.
or Brandon
Right.
Miller. So like space the floor, have the ability to shoot, but like bring that defensive intensity. That's why I had to. So I guess we're on the same page there. But talk a little bit more about why your Hornets could be a good fit for
Yeah.
him.
All those reasons, he's also going to bring some maturity, right? You don't need, you're going to have a
Y'all,
top five
y'all are
pick who's
so
probably,
y'all are so
who's,
immature, man.
we are, and you're going to add another 19-year-old in the top five, whether that's VJ Edgecombe, whether that's Trey Johnson, whether that's Ace Bailey, whoever ends up there. Bringing in a 23-year-old who has been around the block, is selfless, and is going to be team first, I think is going to matter a lot to that locker room and the culture that is trying to be built, that people have been trying to build in Charlotte since the Hornets came back as the Bobcats.
Yeah, it's a definitely something. I think the Hornets would be a great fit for him. In 5 years, he is a what? The options are All NBA, All Star, starter, bench, G League, overseas, and podcaster.
I think he's a bench guy. I think the lack of profile ceiling keeps him from being a starter, but I think he can be a high quality bench guy that is like a seventh or eighth man on a playoff team.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's just going to be on a bench in the league and he's going to play a lot and be there and be a good defender and be who Sion James is and has had the opportunity to do so. What do you have him as most likely to?
Most likely to have his player comp be Justice Winslow on the draft broadcast.
Oh, wow, that's a really good pot. I love Justice Winslow so much. I thought he was going
I did too. Injuries wrecked that, but that was the talk when he signed with Duke, was that he was going to play that kind of role, and I think it's going to be that coming out where he could be a Justice Winslow type player, and that's who the draft broadcast is going to hammer that home time and time and
Yeah, I had most likely to go his first NBA season shooting 24% from three. I just think that there was a lot of the questions about him at Tulane. He had a really good year, really good
Yep.
two last seasons, I think, shooting the ball at a very high level. Uh, but I think it'll be the same kind of, he's not this player, but like some of these guys who are these defensive guys take a little bit of time to just be like this steady 40% mid 30s 3-point shooter.
Mhm.
And everyone expects Sion to come in and do so and hit shots, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, this isn't great for the first couple months or first year," but eventually he will figure it out. So my favorite part of this video is the best case scenario for Sion James. Who do you have?
Lou Dort.
Is it because he looks like Lou Dort?
A little bit, but just the idea of being a elite on ball perimeter defender, and Dort's shooting has improved drastically since when he got in the league. James is gonna have to do that as well. But I think that's the mold he's got to try and follow, right? He's just be shut down defense, contribute to winning, be a secondary piece, and have the shooting improve, and then you're a starter who's making 20 plus million on a team in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, that's fair to say. My best case comp, I like yours, but mine was Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown,
Yes.
guy played in
Yes.
Miami. He was six
Yeah.
five, athlete, check. The shot came around. He also had like some underrated like playmaking stuff, which I feel like Sion has a little bit. Like he played a little bit of point guard
Yeah.
too, and he
Yeah.
had the ability to get guys in spots. But Bruce Brown's made himself a really nice NBA career as a second round draft pick. He's gotten a couple big paydays. I actually think he's an NBA champion. I think he won a title or
He won the
something.
Nuggets. It was a big part of the
Yeah,
Nuggets
oh
win.
yeah, he's on that Nuggets team. He got
Yeah.
paid really, really good. I think that'd be a good comp for him. I think Bruce Brown's around that 6'5". range too. Maybe
Yeah.
longer arms, but still kind of the same a little bit there. Feel good about
Uh,
that.
Yeah, I think he played like the 4 or the 5 at spots for the Nuggets too during that run. It was
I
a
could see
big part of
I could see
that run.
Sion doing something like that. What's the worst case comp for him?
You ready for this?
Is it a Piston?
I don't know if Michael Benajay played for the Pistons or
Oh,
not, but
Michael Benajay, the Syracuse guy, the
yeah,
also Duke guy, right?
started his career at Duke. Yeah. Somebody who was that size on the wing, had some playmaking chops, but was out of the league very quickly because he was a second round pick, didn't get a ton of opportunity. I think there's potential for that happening to James as well. The shot never came around. He was a defensive guy in college, but it just didn't translate to where he could only be doing that in the NBA.
Yeah, that's fair to say. So I went back and forth on this because you don't want to pick a player that you kind of want to pick a second round guy. Like at first I was like, oh, he could be Dante Exum. Like Dante Exum ends up just being a guy
Yeah.
that bounces back and forth and he can't really find a necessarily like spot in the league. Um I shouldn't be doing this mid video. I'm so sorry about this, JK, but I am going back to Dante Exum. I just think it's a guy that he bounces back and forth. He has the
Yeah.
defensive chops. It kind of works out in some spots. It really doesn't work. The other one I had in my mind, and I'm not even sure if he's still in the league, but Brandon Williams. He was a former
Mm.
Arizona point guard, I believe. He's kind of gone back and forth, been like an undersized, like guy that's supposed to defend but can't really knock down shots. But yeah, I feel better about my best case comp for Sion James, I think. Well, more so than my worst case.
Yeah. I think there's a chance that it just never works, but I wouldn't bet on that. Like I bet on him sticking around. Lou Dort might be best case scenario. The answer is probably somewhere in between.
Yeah, I think so too. Really good player, really fun to watch. We have 79 other of these videos for our draft channel. If you need anything on any prospect leading up into the draft, we here
Let
at
me
Super
know.
Media have y'all covered. Make sure y'all tap in and happy draft season.